Was this yet another attempt by Pakistan to try and engineer a 26/11 style attack? With us on the Newshour debate is Keti Singh, former secretary of the MEA, Sushant Sareen, senior fellow with the Vivekanand International Foundation, Maruf Raza, strategic affairs analyst, retired Commodore G.J. Singh, defence analyst, is with us from Bengaluru. Group captain, retired Sultan M. Hali, defence analyst, is live with us from Islamabad. And we're also joined by Tahir Malik, political analyst and senior journalist. In a while from now, we'll be joined by Maiza Hamid, who's a member of the National Assembly of the PMLN. But I want to start with you, Sushant Sareen. Would it be possible for this boat to enter Indian waters without the active complicity of the Coast Guard of Pakistan? They wanted the boat in our waters. What was the bigger plan? Sushant Sareen. All right, we'll try and go across to Sushant Sareen in just a bit. But Mr. Keti Singh, if you'd like to take that question, do you think that without the active complicity of the Pakistani authorities, this boat would have made its way into the Indian waters?
It's difficult. I think, look, we must begin with that is a portion of the maritime boundary between India and Pakistan where fishing boats cross over, and that's why we've seen so many of our people arrested on that side. We've been arresting their fishermen. So fishing boats do operate in that area where it is an unmarked, indeterminate boundary with rival claims on where a maritime boundary is and where Pakistan's is. It has something to do with Sir Creek. Till we settle the Sir Creek problem, that maritime boundary can't be defined exactly where it is. Now, whether it is with the connivance of the Pakistani government or not, only intelligence agencies and investigation will tell us. But the fact is that there is a boat that had crossed, and I'm very glad there was good coordination between intelligence and the Coast Guard. Though I would have been happy if they had trailed it and seen where it was going and then finally caught it before it committed the act, because that is how normally in the West, when they are trailing someone, they trail him till they get to know what the person is up to. Now we can only guess because the boat is destroyed. It'll be almost impossible to recover the bodies or whatever was on the boat, depending on the depth of the waters, but I think it'll be almost impossible. We've seen what's happened to the AirAsia flight. Even in shallow waters, to recover something is very, very difficult.
Mr. Singh, there is a reason why.
Now it will be just guesswork or the intercepts.
No, Mr. Singh.
Intercepts. If you have the intercepts, they will tell the story.
True, Mr. Singh, we've got access to some of the intercepts, and that shows, and there is also details that a wireless set has been recovered, a wireless set similar to that used by the Pakistan Army, and there is a larger reason why 3 of the Coast Guard ships are still around the area of the wreckage. They are still in the high seas. There is a reason why we're still awaiting the details, and we'll share that the moment we have a confirmation on that front. But first, going across to Sushant Sareen, I'm sorry we did not have your audio through at that time. Now we can hear you correctly, Sushant Sareen. What's your point of view here? Because again, what happened in 2008, the origin point was somewhere around the same region as the origin point of this boat in Karachi, Keti Bunder.
No, that is true, but that is a place from where normally fishing vessels also take off. Now it is possible that if it was a terrorist vessel, it could have escaped the it could have done what it was doing without the say-so of the authorities, but that's quite unlikely because the Pakistan Maritime Security Force has been pretty efficient in manning its own waters. So that's a bit of a stretch on that one. The other thing, and that's the more important thing, that normally if these guys were smugglers or fishermen, smugglers and fishermen are not exactly in the habit of blowing themselves up or committing suicide. Fishermen know the perils of entering waters of India. They know that if they get arrested, they probably have to spend a couple of months, maybe even a year or so in captivity before they are repatriated to their countries. So there is really no incentive for them to kill themselves or blow themselves. This is something which normally jihadis do. And I'm assuming that whatever has been put out, there are some questions which still need to be answered from the press release which has come out. But I'm sure that over the next couple of days, there will be a lot more clarity and a lot more information of what exactly transpired on the high seas. But whatever we have as of now seems to suggest that obviously these guys were up to some hanky-panky. Ambassador Singh's point is well taken. You could have followed these guys up to a point, but up to to what point would you have followed them?
Absolutely. And let's bring in Tahir Malik now. Let's bring in Tahir Malik, Sushant Sareen. Tahir Malik, why is it that despite international attention, despite having faced first-hand the backlash of fostering terror, Pakistan continues to persist with these kind of tricks, trying to smuggle in jihadis, as Sushant Sareen said, into India, into Indian waters and then onto Indian soil?
First of all, I would like to say something as a journalist. I mean, I am as a citizen of subcontinent. I would like to share something with the viewers. There is total blackout in Pakistan. There is absolutely no information for me. I mean, I have a call from India because something has happened. And I was smiling in my heart. I am living in a global village, so-called global village. Living in Lahore, I know almost everything what is happening in London, in New York, but in India. The same thing I see with India. I think the thing which is need to, I am taking the Pakistani position. I think we both countries, the people are living in dark. I have no idea. And the second thing which is bothering me as a journalist, I've been listening you guys, and you are not differentiating between opinion and effect. You all sound like Pakistan is standing in front of you and you have given the statement. I mean, this is surprising. And in Pakistan media, let me share you something very interesting story of the Pakistan media. Pakistani media is today talking. Yesterday, 2 Pakistani soldiers was killed by the Indian armed forces.
No, but Tahir Malik, I'm sorry. What are you trying to say? What do you mean by trying to pass off opinion as fact? The fact is that there was this fishing boat which was in Indian waters. The fact is that it was chased by the Indian Coast Guard. The fact also is that they ultimately then blew themselves up. The entire boat. It was a suicide mission. What is the opinion that you're saying is being passed off as fact?
Listen, I'm not a state of Pakistan, nor I'm the Pakistani official, so I cannot say anything as a state organ, but what I'm saying as a citizen, the Indian, I see a typical stereotype of Pakistan and India here again. Whatever happens in India, they always sound like a fact. So I think what my point of view is, I don't see anything between people of Pakistan and people of India.
No, Tahir Malik, with all due respect, Tahir Malik, with all due respect, today we are talking basis call intercepts that we have access to. We are talking basis pictures that we have access to. This is strong intel inputs, not like you just wanted to sound off saying that we display, passing of opinion as a fact. No, the point of origin was Karachi. The intercept was made by intel inputs and they intercepted calls which said कि उधर की हवा देख के काम करना, 5-5 लाख रुपए दे दिए गए हैं. And there was a response which said हमें हमारा सामान मिल गया है. These are the 3 intercepts that we have. There is so much more which got the Coast Guard alerted. That was the reason why the central intelligence agencies alerted the Northwest Coast Guard and asked for this intercept. So, sir, there was something sinister happening. Our question is, does the Pakistani establishment know what is happening right under its nose? Was it complicit? Or was it absolutely oblivious to what is happening on its own soil? That's the question, Group Captain Sultan M. Hali. Because this is shocking.
If you're asking me as a Pakistani, I can tell you one thing for sure.
Tahir Malik, I'll come across to you, just bringing in the other guests, sir. Just bringing in all the other guests also. I'm going across to the Group Captain. Yes, Group Captain.
Okay, it's very... hello?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Please, if you have asked me a question, allow me to speak.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, now you see, prima facie, you have a very strong case that a boat was intercepted. The boat, there were probably 4 people on board who blew themselves up. You have caught some intercepts, but 2-3 things stand out. You see, it does not show the complicity of the Pakistani state. That you will have to, establish through evidence which you will have to find, because it is possible. We have been saying all along that these terrorists are non-state actors. They are not necessarily Pakistani, nor do they necessarily have the backing of the Pakistan government or the ISI. I do not know which agency was sponsoring them or whatever, but the fact is that you need to have a little more proof. Kudos to you or to your Coast Guard as well as the other agencies who managed to apprehend them. But I wish you can find a little more evidence before you can, lay the blame squarely on the foot of the Pakistani
Okay, let's bring in
government.
Maruf at this point. Maruf,
Actors.
too premature, too early apparently to be seeing a Pakistani establishment hand in this, because we see again the re-emergence of that familiar term, non-state actors from Pakistan yet again, just like Asab, Kasab and his 9 comrades, all of them non-state actors. Probably these 4 also non-state actors. Pakistani establishment has got its hands clean.
You see, I have 4 or 5 points to make. My first point is to establish, in my view, why there was a linkage between the state and the non-state actors. This happened around the New Year's Eve, when at the same time there was an increase of firing on the LOC and the international border. And that firing can only take place by state actors of Pakistan, who are the armed forces and the rangers. And there was counter-response from India. And the aim was perhaps to deflect attention from what was aimed to be by the state or non-state actors to be a dramatic attack on India, which would have given particularly hardline groups like the LET a shot in the arm. They have been itching to do that for some time. And there is now, I mean, I can quote Pakistani writers in the aftermath of 16 December attack who had said that despite the attacks on Pakistani citizens and the state being in a state of mourning, there are still a consensus or largely of view that India is the enemy number 1 for both the state and the non-state actors in Pakistan. The Taliban's dramatic attack on Peshawar notwithstanding. Second point which I wish to make is the distinguished Pakistani journalist said that he himself doesn't know what kind of information to believe because there's an information blackout in Pakistan. That has always been the case, because in Pakistan the state filters out information. They do not have access to all the information, particularly which could embarrass the state. And this has been right from 1947-48 operations in J&K. I was just reading an interesting comment by Christine Fair in a book on Fighting to the End about the Pakistan Army, in which she says whole lot of Pakistani documents that are there of the 47-48 operations do not really reflect that there was really a conflict with India, and they feel it was part of the unfinished business of partition and the violence that went with it. So there is a convoluted sense of information that goes out to the people. Only a handful of people are in the know. The third point which I wish to make is that in Pakistani's military establishment, there is a fair amount of infiltration of hardline groups. This has led to the attacks on the PNS Mehran and then the PNS Zulfikar, both in and around Karachi. And these are high-profile attacks which are carried out by terrorists with connivance by some naval personnel. I'm not saying all naval personnel are suspect in Pakistan, but these people have managed to infiltrate the state. And the state apparatus does continue to use them and see them as strategic assets. Please remember that in the aftermath of the 16 December attacks in Peshawar, there has been no clear consensus, and I quote an article in the Dawn which says The Poison Within, dated 20th December, which says that nobody in Pakistan is talking about the real poison in Pakistan, which is the jihadi groups like LET, Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, Jamaat-ud-Dawa and a whole lot of others who are holding sway. They have huge public opinion, and I have now with me through the highest sources in the Indian government who tell me in confidence yesterday, who told me that Nawaz Sharif is only 50% in control. So to blame it all on Nawaz Sharif's steps again wouldn't be right. There are elements who are operating outside state control. They are state elements, they are state forces, and they operate with non-state actors. Where this was headed
Maruf,
to,
let's bring in a rebut.
It would have been interesting to see to its logical end, but quite clearly, Anand, this is the last point, quite clearly, the aim was to do a dramatic attack on an Indian coastal town, either Jamnagar, Porbander or Mumbai High, which would then again give them a sense of deniability. Now people are saying, why should you say this boat has come from Karachi? Because that's where the intercepts came from. The boat didn't come from the Gulf or the African coastline. You know, all those people who intercepted it clearly saw it coming from where it came. And as you brought out, there is evidence in terms of transcripts. There is transmissions that were taking place. This was exactly the pattern of the 26/11 attacks. For India, we are capable, but we are still vulnerable because there is a misfit between what the Coast Guard can do, which is shown on the ground in the high seas, and what the coastal police is capable of doing. So we have our soft spots, and which are going to be exploited.
True, and going back to Tahir Malik on that, you saw Maruf Raza raise some very keen points there and precise there. But Tahir Malik, we have your own defense minister, Khwaja Asif, saying this in September 16, after September 16, 2014, with what happened with the Zulfikar. He has said that without assistance from inside, these people could not have breached security. And soon after that, all across the subcontinent, there were high alerts that even the US had issued an alert that Pakistan, elements within Pakistan are planning a maritime assault on Indian soil. Now, these are not our comments, sir. And look at the trail of events and how it is all built up to what happened on the night of 31st December. There is seriously an issue.
Let me tell you, Pakistan does not mean one minister. Pakistan does not mean 5 people. Pakistan means 180 million people. And I believe I am born Pakistani, I am born Lahore. I know we are peace-loving people. We don't believe in killing. My point towards I see Indian media, again, very stereotype. I wish to see Indian media sound more like a people's media. I'm feeling like I'm talking to some government official sitting in Delhi. So my point of view is Pakistan and Indian media should be sound more. It should be between more people to people than between Islamabad and Delhi. I have no idea. I'm not representative of the state of Pakistan, but I can tell you.
Fair enough. Of course, you're peace-loving people, but unfortunately, it's not you. It's not you who's deciding your policy towards India. Maruf Raza wants to rebut that, but I also want to get in Commodore GJ Singh at this point. And we're talking about all these terror alerts which had come in the past few months. The fact is that after the December 16th attack, Commodore GJ Singh, just a second, Maruf. All right, Maruf, quick point for you.
Commodore Saab, I request your patience
Tahir Saab, just a quick point.
Maruf Raza wanted to make a quick rebuttal. I'll come to you, Commodore Sir. Commodore Singh,
sir, please listen to me. Sir, please listen. Sir, please, quick point. Quick point is that people say that the Indian media is voicing the government's opinion. The people of India are united on one central issue, that we will not tolerate any more terror attacks on Indian soils, on Indian citizens. In Pakistan, there is a disconnect between what your people-to-people relationship with us is and what your establishment's view of us is. It is not the case here. Our establishment is not that hawkish and our people are not that passive. Please understand, there is a difference between how we approach the problem and how you approach the problem.
Right, Maruf, you made a point.
Yes,
Sushant Sareen,
a quick point from Sushant Sareen also.
Yeah, but first, Commodore Singh. Go ahead, sir. Commodore Singh.
I got to go, so I just have a small point to make.
Sushant Sareen, request you just 2 minutes. We'll get Commodore Singh to make a point, and then I'll come to you, Sushant Sareen. He's been waiting for a while. Yes, Commodore Singh.
Yeah, no, I want to make the point that it is not difficult to understand the complicity of Pakistan state. You don't need a rocket science. As a naval officer, let me tell you that the fishing boats are always hugging the coastline. They do not go very far deep into the sea. And at the same time, they always make sure that they are in sight of the coastline, because they do not have the equipment, they do not have the capability to go 320 kilometers or miles west of Porbander. The very position of the boat is an indication that this cannot be done without the Pakistan ISI and the Navy direction, instruction, guidance. It can only come to that point once it is shepherded by them. Let me complete.
Yes, sir.
And at the same time, it is well known. People have been talking about 50%, control with the Nawaz Sharif and all that. I would say that in Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, I would say in Pakistan, the democracy is just an ornamental democracy. He does not have any say. The final shots are said by the army, by the ISI. And therefore, to understand that the boat was on a malified intent to, come and strike on our oil rigs or Jamnagar, I think it could be Jamnagar, because it's a Gujarat state, and probably want to give a message to the Prime Minister here. Because Pakistan, as it has been well established, is known to create terrorism in India. I would
Absolutely. And before we get Group Captain Sultan Hali to respond to that, I want to get in Sushant Sareen also. Sushant Sareen, in the aftermath of the December 16 attack in Peshawar, Hafiz Saeed within hours got on TV, said India is responsible for this and we will make them pay.
Yeah, look, now I'll tell you what the problem is. I would go along with the Pakistani guests up to a point where they say that, and in fact our own analysts have been talking about this on your program, there are non-state actors who have, for example, tried to hijack Pakistani ships. Obviously, that was not with the permission of the Pakistani establishment, that the Al-Qaeda was trying to hijack a Pakistani ship for whatever it wanted to do. The problem, however, comes when some of these other groups, which are so-called non-state actors, also have very, very close links with state actors, and I'm talking in particular about groups like the LET. So when Pakistanis make that distinction, that is sellable only up to a point, but it's not sellable when it comes to some of the groups like the LET and others, which work practically like auxiliaries of the Pakistani state. And that is where the problem comes in. Now, in this particular instance, the problem, we don't know what the target was. It could have been Jamnagar, it could just have been some guys, some jihadists who were smuggling weapons or explosives or some other stuff into India, and it could be part of some larger conspiracy. We don't know. Like I said, there is still not enough information in the public domain. There are certain facts which are known to us, and we are making some analysis on the basis of those facts. All of the facts are not in, and perhaps it will be a couple of days before we get to learn a lot more about this whole incident than what we know at present. But on the basis of what we know as of now, on the basis of those facts, and the very thing that here are these guys, fishermen would probably surrender, smugglers would probably surrender, and probably live to fight another day. Jihadists would not. And I think it was important for the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard did, from the press release it's clear, did try to apprehend these guys, did try to get custody of these fellows, but these guys were desperados, and they wanted to go down
fact
with
is,
their
Sushant
vessel,
Sareen, and I'm going to go across to Group Captain
and reveal certain other things. So I think,
well, no, the fact is, like you've reiterated and like you've said, they fired warning shots, Group Captain. They told them to wait on, we want to investigate who you are. They turned towards the international borders. It was a 60-minute chase in the high seas. This boat was unlit. Now, they were making regular calls to land, and the handlers were based in Karachi, as the intercepts show very clearly. There is a wireless set that has been recovered. It's not that all was lost. There is a wireless set that has been recovered. It is of Pak Army make. It's a serious issue, sir. If elements within the establishment, within the army, are working in cahoots with the Lashkar-e-Taiba, officially or unofficially, they no longer remain non-state actors, sir.
You see, in response to your question, I can only state that, you see, it does not show the complicity of the state. When I am insisting on non-state actors, you gave yourself, or your worthy guest from India, gave the example of the attack on PNS Mehran, which was having inside information, having personnel of the Pakistan Navy who were probably recruited by the jihadis, and then the recent example of the PNS Zulfikar, that was also with the complicity of certain people who had been compromised. But these were not false flag exercises. These were
but that was with the Al-Qaeda, sir.
Where there are people, and that is our problem.
That was with the Al-Qaeda. This we are talking about Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jamaat-ud-Dawa, which enjoy patronage, because Nawaz Sharif stopped short of naming Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jamaat-ud-Dawa when he promised to weed out terrorism from Pakistani soil. He stuck only to the Taliban. He focused only towards the western frontiers of Pakistan. He did not talk about what's happening on Pak soil towards the Indian borders. He has not made a reference. That's why we ask you. And time and again, evidences after 26/11, time and again have clearly shown the ISI's complicity. And that's why this claim of non-state actors doesn't stand.
Okay, let's drop the non-state actor thing, but you see, I would like to respond. I would like to respond to your statement that Nawaz Sharif has not talked about the other jihadis or the terrorists, because it has been made very clear that this is going to be an across-the-board action. And even today, our parliament was in session, and tomorrow morning they are going to pass a resolution, and this is going to be across the entire soil of Pakistan. It's not going to be selective.
The comments so far, we have to wait and see on that
Anand, can
whether
I
or not.
come in, Anand? I think you know that this
Coming to
Pakistani
Commodore Singh,
argument,
yes, Maruf.
Anand, this Pakistani argument that it's going to be across the board. I'm sorry, because let me quote 4 writers from Pakistan in the aftermath of 16 December attacks. Bina Sarwar, Hussain Haqqani, Aisha Siddiqa and Khalid Ahmed. All 4 of them have said that Pakistan needs to change its narrative. Its narrative is very strongly, at least for the military establishment, anti-India, and they continue to see groups like the Lashkar-e-Toiba, the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, Jamaat-ud-Dawa, a whole lot of others as strategic assets. The second point which I wish to bring out is that in Pakistan, there are even smaller terror groups who are fighting for their political survival. And the one way they can achieve political importance and get back into the play of things, which is the model of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, and I quote it from a number of books that have been written on that, most importantly Stephen Tankel's book Storming the World Stage, in which they use attacks on India to recruit more people, to get more funding, to get more importance. And those who say that there is no role of the Pakistani establishment, let me remind you that when Zikrur Rahman Lakhvi was put under arrest on the 7th on 8th of December 2008 at the Adiala jail, the first person who went to meet him was General Shuja Pasha, who asked him to give complete deniability of ISI's role there. This is recorded information which is available. David Headley has attested to that. Ajmal Kasab has attested to that.
And that marks this operation as well, doesn't it, Ambassador Kesi Singh? Because here the boat has been blown up. So essentially, this is what Pakistan is going to claim. We'd got nothing to do with this entire operation. The evidence has all been obliterated. Ambassador Kesi Singh. Commodore G. Singh, before I come to you, can I please get Kesi Singh in?
This is not... Yes, I think what we need to do is, let's maturely jump a couple of stages ahead. This time, let's have all the information that we have, try getting as much as we can from the ocean or from the capsized boat, and then test Pakistan's intent. Because after all, if the intercepts are there for broadcast coming out of Karachi, they must arrest those people. So this should be something which should be taken up with the Pakistan government with proper evidence, whatever is available with us, and ask them to now prove their honesty of purpose. Are they willing to take steps or not? As Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said in his speech, he did say, although he did not name Lashkar-e-Taiba, but after the Quetta attack, after the Peshawar attack, he did say that all terrorism must be obliterated. So this is a test case, and we must take it up with Pakistan. But take it up not with rhetoric and with emotion and using past arguments, but take it up with actual evidence. And present it to the global community, present it to other fora, and say this is what is happening. This is freedom of the high seas. You cannot be doing these things across high seas. Let me just add one point.
Yes,
I think one of where I would add that probably a target could have been Gujarat, because there are 2 things happening there. Prime Minister is going there. There is the big Gujarat conference, and then there is the Pravasi Divas. So there are 2 major events taking place where international community, Indians from all over the world are coming. A lot of business community, major business corporations are converging on Gujarat. So if you were to have an attack at this stage, either in a port or in Ahmedabad, it would have caused chaos and caught the global attention. Absolutely. So it is possible that the target this time was some place in Gujarat.
There are plenty
and in fact, let me put that question that you've raised, Kesi Singh, to Saida Maiza Hamid. She's a member of the National Assembly from the PMLN who's joining us now. Commodore G. Singh, before I come across to you. Maiza Hamid, the thing is that it's a test of your Prime Minister's intent. He had said not too long ago, soon after the December 16th attack, that every last terrorist will be weeded out. Then what were these men, these 4 men in a boat which had explosives, which was ultimately blown up, doing sneaking into Indian waters? How were they allowed to come into Indian waters by your authorities?
I think the popular sentiment right now is that Pakistan is countering terrorism from inside, and we have so many borders to cover also, and at the same time India is attacking us and counter-attacking us. I don't know why, with words and with actions also on the line of control. So I feel that, right now, instead of showing support, which which I feel that with words they do, but with actions it does not show.
Ma'am, what kind of support are you expecting if you have people being smuggled into our waters? What kind of support are you expecting, Commodore G.J. Singh?
We do not expect our soldiers to be killed on the line of control.
No, Madam,
on an excuse of being called on a meeting.
Major Hamid, with all due respect, when from 12:30 in the night, when from 12:30 midnight of 31st of December, early wee hours of 1st of January, from 12:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning, the mortar shelling was happening from Pakistan side. That was when this boat was in the high seas and it was intercepted by the Indian Coast Guard. So let's not get into this. Let's not get into this rhetoric.
I want to get into this because
what I would request, madam, is for you to answer this question that my colleague Padmaja just asked you, madam. How is it that this boat left the port of Karachi? How is it that this boat laden with explosives and with armed youth left Karachi, Keti Bunder, was communicating with handlers on Karachi, on shore, and nobody in the Pakistani security establishment picked it up or warned the Indian borders that there are these elements which are making their way to India, you should intercept them. Why didn't this happen from the Pakistan government side or the Pakistan security establishment if your intention to counter terror was so keen, madam?
I think your narrative is already what you want to show to your people.
So please tell me what should be the alternative narrative, madam, because we are talking about we have based the narrative based on evidence, madam.
Are you not giving me a chance to talk?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Express my point of view.
Go ahead, ma'am.
See, our narrative right now is that Pakistan is encountering severe terrorism from inside. We have constitutional amendments going on regarding terrorism. Our Prime Minister has made hard decisions despite the security risk he has for terrorism.
Have these decisions been selective, madam?
Very serious as far. Yes, they have been discussed. They are being.
No, have they been selective towards a certain kind of terrorism?
Listen, this is not about India. This is about Pakistan.
Ma'am, I'm asking you, has it been selective or has it been comprehensive, these decisions and these steps?
It is across the board. It is across the board. The Prime Minister has made these decisions.
Well, ma'am, that doesn't quite ring true. And Commodore G.J. Singh wants to come in on that point. Maiza Hamid, we have a counter view. All your arguments so far, Commodore G.J. Singh wants to counter that.
What I feel is that Pakistan...
Yeah, I just want to explain. Madam, I will just take 2 minutes. I will cut the long story short. I just want to tell that the people like Hafiz Saeed, Lakhvi, all these are in the good books of Pakistan Army and ISI. Why? Because they come from the same stock. And when it comes to Taliban, they're bad Taliban like the ones who attacked, massacred the children in Peshawar. They were Zuraris, they were Waziris, and they were Pashtuns. They do not come from, their culture is different. Therefore, they call them as terrorism. The terrorism within Pakistan is coming only from that region. It is not coming from Lakhvi or from Hafiz Saeed, because they are good boys of the Pakistan Army and Pakistan.
Right, Commodore Singh.
India should
for example, I just want to say that they changed the designation very quickly. Had those 6 terrorists who struck in school, had they been, Pakistan Army would have been able to induct them across the LOC, they would have been designated as jihadis, freedom fighters, Kashmiris. They would have disowned them. So therefore, the Pakistan's counter to terrorism is very selective. These people are only calling terrorism which is emanating from the bad Talibans. Otherwise,
Maiza Hamid, may I ask you a question? Commodore Singh, just wait on. Maiza Hamid.
Pakistan Army and Pakistan leadership is continuously since 15 days discussing terrorism, trying to implement strategies to counter terrorism.
Right.
And I think this is how serious the government can be. If India was so serious, they should
welcome that. We welcome that, Maisa
and
Hamid.
discussing the issues right now. I know you
Maisa
don't,
Hamid.
I'm sorry to say you don't.
Maisa Hamid, may I ask you? Maisa Hamid.
Show your support with words. The
No,
next
madam,
thing
may
we
I
know
ask you a
is
question?
the firing from LMS.
Ma'am, in fact, we have shown you the
No,
support.
may I
At the
ask you-
time when the Peshawar
Maisa
attack
Hamid-
happened, our Prime Minister called up Nawaz Sharif and
I
expressed
don't believe-
support,
I
expressed
think you
condolences.
should show
But the
your
fact
support
remains
with action,
that experts on
Maisa
both
Hamid-
sides of the border have pointed out
Instead of
that your
counter-attacking,
approach is extremely
the country
selective.
which is already under
You
terrorism
want
right
to
now.
go ahead with your operations against the Taliban, yet you encourage. Don't they, Maruf Raza? Would you agree with that?
We
That
do
on the
not-
other hand, as far as their
we-
eastern
no,
frontiers are
listen,
concerned,
we
they
don't
continue
discuss-
to
we don't
foster
Well, you know,
terrorism in
Padmaja,
any
and
form.
develop
Padmaja,
the
if
terrorists
Miss
who are
Hamid will
inimical to
let
India's
somebody
interests.
else speak. If Miss Hamid will let somebody else speak, Madam, please let somebody
Okay,
else
I'm quiet.
speak.
I feel that
completely
what
appreciate
your
the intent
sentiments
of
are,
your
you
Prime
show them to
Minister.
the public. You
Madam,
do not
will you
want
let me
Pakistan's point of
speak?
view to be put-
Madam, ever since you've arrived on the program, you're shrieking away. Let somebody else speak. I'm saying that we appreciate the intent of your Prime Minister, but it is too much to expect from your Prime Minister to turn the clock around and to turn the boat in 7 days. As the Dawn newspaper itself said, that it has taken you 25 years to get to this point where you now want to turn things around in 7 days. So while the intention of the Prime Minister may be good and may be noble, we in India some of us at least understand that we cannot expect everything from Mr. Nawaz Sharif overnight. But for you to continue to keep saying that you are victims of terror is an argument which has now been exhausted. The world knows that at one end you are victims of terror, but the other end you are also sponsors of terror. And this boat coming from Pakistani post and Karachi, which is perhaps the most dangerous city in the world, and I do recognize the fact that your governmental agencies are not totally in control of things in Karachi, but the modus operandi adopted by the boat gets us to believe that there was a military dimension to it. And this has been authenticated in several books. In page 61 to 65 of Stephen Tankel's book on the Lashkar-e-Toiba, he says very clearly that the ISI regularly used to sit in for briefing with LET. The ISI's training manuals, the LET's training manuals were written by the ISI because there's complete military jargon in it. So there are linkages, you can't deny that. And I want to quote Mr. Hussain Haqqani, who you may like or not, but he's from your party, at least in the past, who has said that Pakistan must be honest to change the narrative that continues to dominate certain elements of Pakistani society. So please don't be in a state of denial. We appreciate what you're doing, but you need to do it right across the board. It is not happening, ma'am.
Yes, Maisa Hamid.
Can I answer?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Pakistan has this terrorism policy across the board. There are no good terrorists, there are no bad terrorists. Unfortunately, the facts that have been stated before have no evidence. And just saying the fact that Pakistan and maligning Pakistani institutions with terrorists is just completely wrong without evidence.
No.
Pakistan's Supreme Court, Pakistan's government, Pakistan's military is right now, even right now as we speak, sitting together and discussing how to counter terrorism throughout and across the board. We are not at all involved in any kind of terrorism as far as India is
when you say counter terrorism throughout and across the board, what do you mean by that, Maisa Hamid? Maisa Hamid, I'm seeking a clarification.
The board, as in whoever the terrorists are,
whoever terrorists are who are causing trouble on Pakistan soil for Pakistan. But I'm asking you, what will be your action towards those who are based in Pakistan but are causing causing problems on Indian soil? What is your attitude going to be towards them?
Sir, our action is going to be the same across the board. Even if it is India or Afghanistan, we can give you the same allegations that you were involved in attacks.
So are you trying to say that you will declare Lashkar-e-Toiba as a terrorist outfit and you would act against them?
Listen, just hear me out. See, what I'm trying to say is that we have this policy across the board, and what you said about 25 years ago, Pakistan is in a different scenario. Pakistan is in a different situation. Pakistan has had democracy after a long time, and
right.
in these
I agree. My question is, madam, when you say, do you think you will pass a stringent legislation and you will declare Lashkar-e-Taiba as a terrorist outfit as the UN and the US and India have? My question to you is, ma'am, would you declare Zakir Rahman Lakhvi a threat who should be put behind bars?
Okay, in fact, I think Kesi Singh also wants to come in. Ms. Hamid, just a second. Former Secretary MEA Kesi Singh also wants to make a point.
Hamid,
Yes, Mr.
Maybe
Singh.
have your ears, please. Miss Hamid, lend us your ears. Miss Hamid, please don't repeat yourself. You said across the board half a dozen times. I am simply saying here is a test case. We'll give you your intercepts. Catch hold of the people in Karachi who are talking to this boat. Let us know who are the owners of the boat. Let us know who are the 4 people. Who are their associates in Karachi. Catch hold of them. We are not asking you to go after Hafiz Saeed. That is, we know an objective you cannot achieve. Let's start with a smaller task. What across the board action are you going to take? If you cannot take concrete action for a specific intrusion into India, we want to test your will, test your desire. Do it. It's good for you also, and it's good for us, and good for Indo-Pakistan relations.
Yes, Ms. Hamid.
Your idea of concrete action is firing on Pakistani soldiers. I don't believe that is concrete.
Ma'am, why are you conflating the two issues?
Again, firing on the soldiers.
Been to the LOC. Madam,
Meza Hamid, we're talking about what happened today. Mr. Kesi Singh, Meza Hamid, please don't deflect. At least say we won't do anything.
And it's a question.
It's a pointed question that was asked to you by Mr. Singh.
They're saying, here are terror intercepts. There were handlers in Karachi who were speaking to these 4 men. That has been established by the intercepts. When the evidence is handed over, what stops you from promising that those people who are on the other side, who were instructing these people on the terror boat, will be apprehended and not given bail by the Pakistani government? Commodore Jijay Singh and then Maruf Raza.
Exactly.
No one has been given bail in Pakistan.
I just want to ask a simple question to the madam here. That if she's talking about across the board, why can't they take action against UNO declared, American declared, worldwide declared terrorist Mr. Hafiz Saeed? Why can't they take the action against him? Why they are nurturing him, protecting him, maintaining him? If they are talking about
Commodore Singh,
terrorism across the board. I'm sorry.
No, Commodore Singh, that's a question we've been asking since 2008, and Pakistan continues to remain in denial or deflect that. My question, I'm going back to what Mr. Singh asked, what Mr. Kesi Singh asked as far as today's inputs, as far as today's resolution, today's intent of the Pakistan government, Group Captain Mali. Won't it be fair that if these intercepts, I have put them out, 3 intercepts I have put them out, there are many more. Based on these intercepts, will the Pakistan government show its intent? Will the Pakistan Army, Navy, Air Force show their intent by helping India figure out who are these handlers? Who are these people who are sending out messages saying, सबको 5-5 लाख रुपए दे दिए गए हैं? Who are these people who are saying, उधर की हवा देख के काम करना? Who are these people who are receiving messages which says, हमें सारा सामान मिल गया है? Cannot the Pakistan establishment prove its intent by getting us these people? Or apprehending these people?
Well, you are asking the relevant questions, but the thing is that you and I cannot take these decisions. This is something for your foreign office to formally hand it over to our foreign office.
I'm asking you, Group Captain,
the government of Pakistan,
is it not a right opportunity for Pakistan government, including the forces and the government, to show their real intent by just apprehending the handlers and saying who are these people, name them and bring them to book, like Mr. Kesi Singh is asking? Is that fair or unfair, Group Captain Mali? Then we'll ask the same question to Maiza Hamid.
I'm telling you that you are asking the right question, and it is very valid. But I'm only saying that the modus operandi should not be to discuss it just on the media, but to take a formal action between our two foreign offices. We are, after all, on talking terms, and we will definitely take action on whatever is what we call actionable intelligence. And we would like to support you. We would like to get to the bottom of this, because we don't want to show that the Pakistan government was in complicity. And I repeat again, for fear of being very repetitive, that these are in all probability non-state actors, and the government of Pakistan has nothing to do with it. And we won't like, we would like to have, to take these people to task so that we can get to the bottom of this case.
Okay, Maiza Hamid, would you also at least leave with that reassurance that when these intercepts, when this kind of evidence is handed over to your government, you will ensure that these people are identified and thrown behind bars for good without bail?
I think India and Pakistan should resume talks, and these things should be put on the table. Instead of...
Ma'am, why don't you answer the question? It's a simple yes or no reassurance. Are you willing to give it or not? What do talks have to do with you acting on actionable intelligence? If the intelligence comes to you, will you act on it or not?
The objections, I'm sure the Pakistan government has their own objections, and Indian government has their own objections. They should be put on the table and discussed further, and then if the action needs to be taken, it should be taken.
No,
Maruf Raza, is this the kind of attitude that one would only come to expect? A simple question which never gets any direct answers, maybe because it's not in the hand of the government to give such a promise? Is it too much to expect?
The 50% kicks in, Maruf.
I just want to make 3 or 4 quick points. The first is that it's been said that the Pakistan state hasn't been involved, and Ms. Hamid has been bringing out the fact that we started the firing on the LOC. Any of us who've been to the LOC know that things don't get escalated in the LOC suddenly out of the blue, that you start going in for heavy weapons and mortar firing. You start with a few shots, whichever aggravation, which side has aggravated things. And if you are a well-trained and a smart soldier, you get into your trench and you ensure that you don't get hit. So those guys who've been killed in it, the escalation of violence take place because both sides go into escalation. And escalation mode happens because the other side escalates and you escalate further. That's unfortunately the nature of the beast on the LOC. As far as the fact with Mr. Kesi Singh's very relevant point that we want to see Pakistan's intention, I am a bit pessimistic about it, but because remember in 26/11 the attackers, we've still been asking Pakistan for voice samples of Lakwi and others, and we've not got that cooperation from Pakistan. So I think it's going to be another 6 years or more if we get any kind of support for this particular attack, even if we ask for evidence whether we go in for talks or not. And the final thing which I want to bring home is the power and the clout that people like Hafiz Saeed command today in Pakistan. Please remember that Hafiz Saeed's rally was clashing with Imran Khan's rally most recently, which took place, which brought train loads of people who were his supporters to Lahore. And Imran Khan called off his rally for fear of not upsetting Hafiz Saeed. People say that they don't sponsor Hafiz Saeed, but Nawaz Sharif's brother from his own budget has given money to the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, of which Hafiz Saeed is also the head.
True.
So how can you then say that you are not sponsoring
these are facts which all of us know, Maruf, running out of time.
Funding them from the Punjab government budget. This is on record.
True. It's all on record. Everybody knows it. What we are asking is a simple question that was put forward at this point, that there is actionable intelligence, there are intercepts, there is evidence of what has happened on the 31st night. If Pakistan's commitment is true, they should promise action if this intelligence is shared. And let us tell our viewers as we wind up this debate and thank our guests that it's not all over. The ships are still in high seas. There are more details and you will hear it on Times Now as and when we get a confirmation. Good night. Thank you for joining us on debate number 1.